Well, this is March 2023. I'm in the East Midlands at Newark in Nottinghamshire, and I'm here for one of the first shows of the British Wargaming year, which is Hammerhead. The Newark showground site here is used for 3 different wargaming events during the year. Partisan is held here, and so is Hammerhead. So I'm here at Hammerhead. I'm waiting for the crowds to subside, so I don't want it to be too busy. So a lot of people are actually leaving at the moment, but it does mean I can be inside and not get jostled. Hopefully the sound won't be too bad. So here we are, Hammerhead, March 2023 at Newark. Okay, as mentioned outside, we're at the Hammerhead Newark Wargames show. That gives you a general overview. As you can see, it's a big site, big building. We're talking about more than 40 or 50 traders, similar number of clubs. The numbers have thinned out a little bit, as some people have come in here, got their purchases and gone. I'm now going to try and do some close-ups of various tables. This will be a purely personal choice. There's a Dungeons and Dragons game going on here. And further up the table, we have a medieval base game, and we'll try and get that from the other end. Well, not quite medieval, but certainly based on a medieval town. Appears to be fantasy orientated. Rather nice figures down there. Right, this one's firmly set in the Vietnam War. I'm going to zoom in now. Coming up, a lot of plastic foliage. Helicopter there. Helicopter over the top, and some remains of an ancient temple at this end. I do wish these clubs would put their club name on so I can identify them better. Well, this huddle of bodies is the very busy bring and buy. They seem to do it in phases, and each person is there to bring their own gear in for 1 hour or 2 hours and deal with the sales themselves. Same here. Yeah. So busy bring and buy scene. And that extends all the way down to the door in that direction, then panning round. And I think you're allowed to hire a table for an hour or 2 and then deal with your own sales. Right, this is the 3 Shires gaming table, and they're using the very British Civil War rules to reenact a very Spanish Civil War. So I'm just going to pan out now. Big table, set in Madrid. We have Russian tanks, trams. As you can see, a long table. A couple of them are actually dressed up in appropriate anarchist or Marxist communist dress. But this is a Spanish Civil War game, but fought using the very British Civil War rules, which is sort of appropriate. strangely, next table up is the Very British Civil War Forum, using their Very British Civil War rules to enact this alternate history Spanish Civil War in Britain. So we've got one unit there with a flag, extemporised armoured vehicles, and they're trying to cross a river there, and faced by other troops. Long table, it's well over 12-15 feet long, and they're getting well into it. We have the Boondock Saints doing a invitation game, The Man Who Would Be King. It's in 28mm. Nice figures laid out there. And there. Excellent fortification up on top, which I'm going to close in on here. Troops coming down the valley over there. So this is the Boondock Saints, The Man Who Would Be King. Right, the local club, the Derby Wargames Associates, doing Colonial Rebellion, American War of Independence. Pan out. We're down here. Group of troops there. British redcoats down here. And down here we have what appears to be British light troops coming through a marshal bog. And they appear to be facing Minutemen in that area. I'm going to change angle, get a better shot on them there. Right, they're just advancing. They look like American loyalists. And the British unit, British redcoat unit, again is down here. Nice bit of detail there. If I can get the camera to focus, there we go. So this is the Derby Wargames Associates, American War of Independence. Right, this is the Peter Paper Boys. They're doing 30 Years War in 10mm paper troops. So if I drop it down here, you can see how thin the units appear to be there. But then when I swing around this way, you can actually see from the front they look rather good. Close up there. We swing it out to there, try and get a better view. There we go. 30 Years War, paper troops. This is the Peter Paper Boys. 30 Years War in 10mm. This is Courage Montbraves. French sailors holding out over there in the temple. More troops here out to fortification there, and this is the Lancaster Wargames Society. Courage mes braves, arrêtez les momies. Something more in the fantasy genre, witch racing, a la J.K. Rowling and the oh no, it's the Unseen University. As you were, of course, this is Terry Pratchett, Discworld. Over here we have the Unseen University, a course for presumably witches on broomsticks, doing the old Ben-Hur thing around the buildings. So this is organised by Rapier Miniatures. Rapier Miniatures, splendid model of the Unseen University over there. See if I can zero in on it. There we go, Rapier Miniatures, Unseen University, and this is witch racing on invitation basis, so various visitors can come in and have a game. Right, this is the Phoenix Games Club doing Kings of War. Appears to be fantasy based. Interesting figures. So this is Phoenix Games Club doing Kings of War.
These guys are from like I printed off from Titan. So all of the leaders.
Okay, this is the Wire Forest Gamers doing an invitation game, the Battle of Sombra, 57 BC. Figures are 28mm ancients. Presuming that's the Sombra River they're fighting across. And unless I miss my guess, it's Celt versus Celt. I'm not seeing any Romans in there. No, it looks Celt versus Celt to me. So that's no, Caesar's in there somewhere apparently, if that's to be believed. Caesar against the Nervi. Oh, I see them. There's some Romans over the far side. My mistake. Right, this is the Like a Stone Wall Wargames group, and they've got an invitation game called Ice Slaughter, which looks suspiciously like an Eisenstein film I've seen. Yeah, being done on a invitation basis. Some of the figures over there. They're up on the high ground, firm ground. Nice. There's the ice. Coming across to here, we actually have what I presume are the Teutonic forces coming on here. So this is Like a Stone Wall Wargames group doing invitation game, competition game, something you can take part in, Ice Slaughter. Right, this is another one, the Glory Boys are doing an invitation participation game called Zombie Glory. looks like looks very much like a zombie side, but on a huge scale. The zombies are out and about. Appears to be centered on a plane crash.
Take the machine gun off. No, you don't take it, it just loses there.
It looks like we have a party of zombies. Yeah.
I'll also play that one.
Yeah, they look a bit hungry. So yeah, this is the Glory Boys, the Zombie Glory. Very nice terrain. I particularly like the demolished building. A lot of detail gone into the brick. Yeah. Nice one. The Glory Boys, Zombie Glory. Quick sweep around some of the traders. We've got war bases here. Bifrost there. Further up here, there's Bacchus Miniatures, Warlord Games located there. As you can see, bolt action. Warp Miniatures here. And Barwell Airbrush Supplies over there. Gives you an idea of the amount of traders we got here. Right, further look at traders. We've got Great Escape Games there. Around here we have David Lanchester, military book specialist, military history book specialist. And up there, someone's promoting Bill's Bows and Bloodshed. Oh yeah, that's me. David very kindly he put my sign up there. Bill's Bows and Bloodshed, a snippet, £10 a copy. That's me. Right, this one appears to be Ken Wilson and the Hornsey Contemptibles. Appear to be wargaming a medieval game, a subject close to my own heart. But I can't see what rules they're using. Nice figures. A few pike over there. Nice light artillery piece coming into view. Bit of baggage. Some Custiliers or light horse there. Got a Welsh flag, I'm not sure if that's relevant. And then coming down here, skirmishers in a hedgerow. Facing enemy cavalry. So this is Ken Wilson, the Hornsey Contemptibles. Well, Pendragon Miniatures certainly seem to be doing well, because they've got a fair old queue. Wouldn't necessarily say it's slow customer service, it probably just means they're popular. So Pendragon Miniatures, one of the many traders here today at Hammerhead at Newark. Although I've written my own Wars of the Roses rules, Bill's Bows and Bloodshed, I'm happy to mention these. This is Test of Resolve, presenting a Wars of the Roses game here today, and they appear to have picked a rather difficult one. They're picking Northampton. So you've got the Yorkist attack into the Lancastrian enclosure at Northampton, and if it follows the normal pattern of events, one of the Lancastrian lords will start helping the Yorkists over the wall, if you're lucky. It's also allegedly rained on the day, which might have dampened their powder. So this is the palisaded enclosure at Northampton. and this will be 1460. And that is Test of Resolve, Wars of the Roses. There. Right, this is Leeds Night Owls doing another participation game, Epic Heresy. Futuristic sci-fi. A lot of very detailed buildings, including over there some kind of airship above there. Nice piece of kit. Small scale but very detailed terrain. Very large robots striding through, look vaguely similar to Transformers. Not my period, but interesting. I'm just going to zero in on that one there. Yeah, that's a Pacific Rim scale robot war machine, if ever there was one. So this is Leeds Night Owls here at Newark's Hammerhead. This is another view of the Zombie Glory game. I've got to say I've been drawn back to it a bit because it's a period that sort of rather interests me. I do play Zombicide, the ball game. This is super sized Zombicide.
I didn't realise it was...
That's the air crash. Very nice buildings, all in about 28mm.
I noticed it, but I thought it was just
Nice ones. Very nice buildings. Nice detail, nice weathering. And back to the zombies again here, coming up the street towards our brave survivors, who I think have actually escaped from this air crash. There is, of course, an old saying from the early days of aviation: any landing you can walk away from is a good one. That one was marginal. So this is the Hammerhead 2023 Zombie Glory game. Okay, this is an eye-catching one. Very small table. This is Dover Channel Crossing, as you can see there. And this is being arranged by the Bunny Badger Games Frothers. It's their Project Fear Rishi's Revenge. And it's a game in which famous Remainers try to leave the country. There, all well-known characters from the British political scene, and famous Brexiteers try to stop them leaving. Oh, there's Nigel Farage. Yes, right. Now, if we pan along, the thing that really caught my eye, is the famous bus. The one claiming that we'd save 350 million a week. Nobody's seen these savings yet, but somehow leaving seems to be costing us more and more and more. Anyway, this is Mad Max meets Brexit, and I think it's a interesting and innovative game. Well done, boys. So it's Bunny Badger Games Frothers. And it's the invitation game, participation game. Project Fear Rishi's Revenge. There's a bit more of a close-up on the figures. I can see Nigel Farage, I can see British Fish. Oh, Johnson's down there. And then the blue ones are famous Remainers who want to leave. And the idea of the game is they want to get out of the country, and this lot want to stop them. It's a bit like British Bulldog meets Mad Max. Nice one, lads. Right, this is Lost Ark Games. So I think we're somewhere in the realms of Indiana Jones. Very, very nice models. Got the old village green bandstand. Enemy troops advancing across there.
These are Crusader. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, they do. This one, early war Crusaders. Early war. Yeah, I blame you, John, for that.
Phone box and village pub.
Yeah. Sorry. Telling them about ambush. I didn't tell you that, didn't you? No.
This is Lost Ark Games, and for some reason I was drawn over here. I can't possibly think why.
What a cracking little bit of sneakiness.
Right, so this is the Old Guard doing a participation game. It's Public Enemy #1. Clearly it's set in the days of Prohibition, Boardwalk Empire, etc. And you've got some lovely figures, lovely speedster there, and some gangster type figures. More vehicles there, and coming down the road we have the forces of law and disorder. I take it this is a skirmish level game, yeah? Yeah. Just getting that confirmed with the organisers. Nice terrain, nice buildings. Put some effort into it. It looks like they're hiding the whiskey. Looks like they're hiding the whiskey over there in amongst the barrels and boxes. So this is the Old Guard participation game playing Public Enemy #1. Right, one game I do play myself is Wings of Glory, formerly known as Wings of War. And the lads here at Hammerhead at Newark are clearly taking it very seriously. Nice playing mat over there with cotton wool clouds. And the serious combat is currently taking place over there. One German aircraft appears to have caught fire. Yep, that's the yellow Fokker D7 is definitely burning. That one's just passing. And it's two more red coloured aircraft, one of which I suspect is DH4, captured DH4. Could be D7, who knows. So anyway, this is Wings of War, Wings of Glory, formerly known as Wings of War, at the Hammerhead show at Newark. And feast your eyes on some of the aircraft they've got. Well, I know I've got a collection, but that is doing a good job, isn't it? Newports, Spads, SE5s, 4 DH2s, Camels over there. I just saw them come into shop. And we've got D7s, etc. I was lucky enough to fly last year, and I met a chap who actually owns a Fokker triplane. He's currently building a Fokker D6. So I'll be very interested to see a Fokker D6 in the air. It's a combination of triplane and D7 components. Only about 20 of them were built. And there's still in action up here. Jockeying the models into position in amongst the cloud base. Yep, and the burning D7 is definitely going off that between the clouds. So this is Wings of Glory battery formerly known as Wings of War. Here we are with the Harrogate Wargames Club, doing an invitation participation Western game. Appears to be set in the early 20th century because there are powered vehicles.
What's the range? So it's within effective range of the sawn off. Yes, you can.
Very handsome buildings. Over on the far side, very handsome train as well.
Supply can move 2d6. So you move 6 inches.
Very nice buildings.
So he plays his Bonanza card, Desperado card, disappears off around the corner.
And the buildings all appear to have removable roofs for placing figures and skirmishing.
Car's not going anywhere.
So this is the Harrogate Wargames Club doing an invitation Western shootout. Someone's just been blasting away with a sawn off. Right, one of the great advantages of attending shows, you can get some decent show deals. Lots of plastic here, they're all ancients. Swing over to here, and we have a nice little show deal on Perry plastics. That's 3 boxes, your choice, Napoleonic, medieval, American Civil War. 3 boxes for £53. That's less than £20 a box. Not a bad deal. While mentioning Newark and the Hammerhead Wargame show, I should point out that Newark is also the home to the National Civil War Centre. That's the English Civil War, of course, not the American Civil War. And today we've got 2 English Civil War pikemen on duty outside the National Civil War Centre. Centre's housed in there. Shares part of that old building there and also part of the foyer of the neighbouring theatre. And one of the very helpful pikemen has just told me if you go around the corner, look at the top of the church, there's actually some damage to the church tower caused during one of the sieges in Newark. But anyway, so that's National Civil War Centre in Newark. On the outskirts of town there's also a earthwork called the Queen's Sconce. And we also have the remains of a medieval castle where King John died. Right. Briefly here in Newark, away from the Hammerhead Wargame show, we're at a spot in the Newark churchyard where 31 persons formerly buried underneath the Newark church were removed and buried here in 1883 during improvements. And some of these are people killed during the siege. That's the sieges of Newark between 1643 and 1646. And this includes Baron Dohna, who was commander of Queen Henrietta Maria's forces, Sir John Girlington, Sir Gervase Eyre, and other loyal officers killed in action during the sieges and gallant defence. So this is a further illustration of how historic Newark is. It was a nodal point for various rivers and road junctions. Still in Newark churchyard, I was told by one of the very helpful pikemen there's some battle damage on the building from one of the sieges, and I think that's what he was referring to. Looks like the shot has bounced off the buttress and struck the wall, or it struck the wall and then bounced off and struck the buttress. But either way, it does look like a round shot damage, and I think the pikeman was correct. Well spotted. Seems like I can't win at the moment. Everywhere I go, somewhere's under repair. We're in the centre of Newark. I left Hammerhead for a while. I briefly visited the Civil War Museum, and this is Newark Castle. It's right on the banks of the River Trent, which you can just see down there. It was badly damaged during the siege, hasn't been well cared for at other times. But the most interesting point about Newark Castle is the gatehouse just over there is where King John died. So this is Newark Castle, East Midlands, County of Nottingham. That's half of Newark Castle, the other half's largely disappeared. Hasn't been well cared for over the years, but at the moment they do appear to be carrying out some repairs just there. That's the deep and wide River Trent. Yeah. And this is one of the reasons why Newark was so important, both during the Wars of the Roses and the English Civil War. It's a nodal point. It's where Roman roads crossed this big wide river, and it was a known crossing place. On the other side of town, at Stoke Field, is the 1487 Battle of Stoke, or Battle of Stoke Field, which was the last major engagement of the so-called Wars of the Roses. Anyway, Newark Castle, and somewhere in that area is said to be the bedroom that King John died in, and he was later taken to Worcester and buried there. Strangely, I saw King John's grave only the other week. So Newark Castle, centre of Newark, something else you can visit while you're in the area. Over on the far side of town we also have the Queen's Sconce, which is a huge star-shaped earthwork, also a survivor of the English Civil War. Thought I'd try for a second shot of the castle while we're here. I've moved a bit further upstream. That's one end. It was basically a square, but most of the walls going in that direction have been lost. There's a considerable batter at the base of that wall there, which allowed objects to be dropped from the upper walls, smash onto there and then fly off into the face of the enemy. And just over there is a good old-fashioned garderobe. Double outlet there, probably for something much higher in the walls, and that would have poured straight out into the river and drifted away. Not much opportunity to sweep that up. So this is the other end of Newark Castle. We're about 2 or 3 miles from the Hammerhead site over at the Newark Showground, and that's the end where by reputation King John, the nasty King John, died. Newark Castle, banks of the River Trent, here in Nottingham. There's the river. Gives you an idea of how big and wide it is. Serious obstacle, and that's why armies wanted to control Newark, because it also controlled the bridge. And this was one of the only major bridges along this stretch of the Trent. So Newark on Trent, and that's the major crossing point. And that of course explains why the castle is here, because the castle itself also controls use of the bridge.